Hello, friends. This is Mrs. Dennis, and I have for you today the introduction to our read aloud for Chapter 11. Now, Chapter 11 is called The Further Adventures of Toad Part 2. So let's dig in, shall we? So we know that when we do our introductions to the chapter, we always start with vocabulary. That is not going to change today. So our first word is ecstasies, intense joys or great joy. So you can see that these kids are super duper happy, right? So that is our first word, ecstasies. They are feeling intense joy right now. Gaining on, getting nearer to someone or something you are pursuing. So think about if you're having fun outside with friends and you're chasing someone. You say, I'm gaining on you, right? When you're gaining on someone, you are getting closer to someone or something you are pursuing. Keenly, it means extremely, sharply, or eagerly. Now we can see that this student is eagerly waiting to answer a question from the teacher. So if you hear the word keenly, that means extremely or eagerly in our story. Proposal, an offer or a suggestion, or a request for marriage, right? So if you say, hey, I have a proposal for you. Why don't you give me all of your snacks and I'll give you my favorite toy, right? That's an offer or a suggestion. But if somebody gets down on one knee and says, will you marry me? That's also a proposal. Recklessly. Friends, recklessly means carelessly, unconcerned about the consequences or results of an action. So we've got the reckless driver, Woody Woodpecker, over here. Friends, if you are reckless, that means you are careless, you do not care, you are not concerned about any consequences or any kind. And yes, friends, there are some reckless people out in the world. Spirit, the character of a person, the way someone feels or thinks. Positive attitude, right? This is a good one for me. This is a positive attitude. It's the way that it's the character. It's just what's inside of you, right? That's just how you can sum it up. Your spirit. Now, let's review. And guess what we're going to review? That's right. You got it. We're going to review theme. So, friends, remember, we are still thinking about theme, and we are going to continue to think about theme. The theme of a story is the message, lesson, or moral the author wants you to learn. It's that simple. What does the author want you to learn from the story that you're reading? We have our common themes: courage, perseverance, honesty, good versus evil, kindness, acceptance, cooperation, loyalty, friendship, love, compassion. Right, friends? These are all common themes, but that's okay. Just because they're common doesn't mean they're the only ones. Lots of other themes out there. And we even know from our story that there are lots of other themes out there, right? Because some of the ones that are not on here from our story, hospitality, responsibility, irresponsibility, right? Those are some things that we can make sure that we can add to this common themes anchor chart, because I think those are pretty common. Now, when we are trying to determine what the theme is of a particular text or a particular story, we have to ask ourselves a question. What idea stays with us as we read? Now, what does that mean, though? As we're reading, what are we reading about? What stays with us? Think about those themes of friendship. Think about loyalty. How does that stay with you? How does it show up in the story, right? What are the characters doing to demonstrate those themes, right? What are the characters doing to show you that they're loyal? What are the characters doing to show you that they're good friends? What are the characters doing to show you that they're irresponsible? They're doing things in the story. The things that they're doing in the story, well, those are the ways that they demonstrate the theme. So the themes from our story, let's see, the themes from our story so far. Oops. Sorry, friends. Friendship, responsibility, loyalty, irresponsibility, and hospitality. Right? We went over these all before. So here's our themes chart. Okay. And these just give you some examples of, just one example from each theme. And we haven't filled in hospitality yet, but we're going to get that one filled in too. So for friendship, Mo offering to pack up the picnic lunch while Rat rests. That's an example of Mo showing friendship. But remember, it's just one example. There are lots of other examples of friendship throughout the story. Loyalty. Rat agreeing to travel with Toad because he worries about Toad traveling on his own. Remember, that's just one example of loyalty. There are so many others throughout the story. Responsibility. Rat and Mole taking care of the wrecked caravan, the house, and Toad after the car incident. Remember, that's just one example. One example. Irresponsibility. Toad not helping on the trip and not caring about the wreck. That's Toad being irresponsible. That's just one example. There are more. If you had to pick an example for hospitality, what character would you pick? Mole? Rat? Mr. Badger? Toad? What character would you pick that demonstrate hospitality? Which character showed an example? What did they do? Right? That's the part that we're going to fill in later. We're not going to do it today, but we're going to get to it. But it's something I want you to continue to think about. So, what do you think of Toad's disguise? Do you think it is helpful or harmful to Toad and others? What do you think? He's got this disguise on. He's got on this bonnet looking like a washerwoman. I mean, is he really fooling anybody? Maybe for a while, but not for long. Do you think his disguise is harmful? I think so. I think it's harmful to himself. He's finding himself in all kinds of trouble trying to get through and fool people with this disguise. So yeah, I think this disguise is harmful to Toad. But we already know that Toad is an irresponsible character. So let's review one of our vocabulary words, conceited. It means excessively proud of oneself or thinking highly of yourself. Would you describe Toad as conceited? Why? Why not? If you had to give me a reason, could you use the word conceited? Right? Yes, I think Toad is conceited. Why? I think Toad is conceited because he thinks very highly of himself. He thinks that he can fool anybody with his disguise. But that's a conceited way of thinking. So I would agree with you. Yes, I think that Toad is very conceited. And when we get to our read aloud for today, Toad is even more conceited than usual. Even more than what he always is. And you're going to see how, and you're going to see why. You're going to see what he does so that it makes you think that, oh man, he is really conceited in this chapter. So, like I said earlier, the title of chapter 11 is The Further Adventures of Toad, Part 2. Let's make a prediction. What adventures do you think Toad will experience in today's read aloud? What do you think is going to happen to Toad? Where do you think he's going to go? What do you think he's going to do? Those are his adventures. Okay, friends. That's all for now.